All right, so we're diving into the 4 steps to the Epiphany.
By Steve Blank.
Yeah, you've given us like a ton of notes.
A stack of diagrams and
And they're all about like building a business that really connects with customers, right? Not just some abstract business theory.
right.
This is about, avoiding those painful facepalm moments where you launch a product and crickets.
Yeah.
Crickets, yet nobody's there.
It's so interesting because he challenges the traditional way we think about product development.
Okay.
So many startups operate on this like build it and they will come mentality.
Right, like Field of Dreams, but for businesses.
Exactly.
But,
What if you build it and no one comes?
yeah, what if nobody shows up? That's the nightmare.
That's the nightmare, and that's what he calls the traditional approach.
Whoa.
The product development model.
Okay.
And he argues it can actually set you up for failure because it prioritizes launching a product over truly understanding your customers.
Interesting. So you're telling me that like focusing on the product could be the wrong approach?
That's right.
Okay.
Think about it this way. What is the point of a fantastic product
Yeah.
if nobody wants it?
If nobody wants it.
He uses the example of Webvan,
Oh, yeah.
that online grocery company back in the .com boom.
Okay.
Millions of funding built this incredible infrastructure and yet crashed and burned.
I vaguely remember that story.
Yeah.
Why they fail.
They were so focused on the product and scaling up that they didn't stop to figure out if their assumptions about the customers were even right.
Oh.
Do people even want to buy groceries online?
Right?
Are they willing to pay for this convenience?
Yeah.
They just assumed the answer was yes.
Ouch. That's a costly mistake.
It is.
So what's the antidote to this?
So he proposes this radical shift with the customer development model.
Okay.
And it flips the script entirely.
Okay.
Puts the customer at the very heart of the process.
I like it already.
So it's not about launching and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It's about launching to learn.
Ooh, launching to learn do.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So instead of assuming we know what customers want, we should be talking to them, understanding their needs and figuring out if our product truly solves a problem
Exactly.
that they actually have.
It's about getting out of the building
Mm-hmm.
and talking to potential customers from day one.
Okay.
Not to sell to them, but to really understand.
Understand. Got it.
What are their pain points?
Yeah.
How are they currently solving the problem that you're trying to address?
So you keep saying getting out of the building. Is that like one of the steps in the model?
It's more like a core principle.
Okay.
So the customer development model has 4 distinct steps.
Okay.
Customer discovery, customer validation,
Okay.
customer creation,
Right.
and finally company building.
Got it.
And each step is iterative.
Iterative. So it's not a linear process.
Not at all. You're going to be circling back, refining,
Okay.
and maybe even pivoting entirely based on what you learn from real customers.
Okay.
It's all about testing your assumptions.
Got it. And adapting as you go. Makes a lot more sense than just barreling ahead with like blinders on,
Totally.
So tell me more about these steps.
Okay.
Like starting with customer discovery. What is that all about?
So customer discovery is where you truly dig deep into understanding your potential customers.
Okay.
It's about getting out there, talking to people,
Yeah.
asking questions, and really listening to their answers. You want to find out if the problem you're trying to solve is a real problem for them and if your solution resonates with them.
This is already so different from just like building something in a vacuum and hoping people like it.
Yeah.
But how do we know if it's resonating?
That's where the idea of early evangelists comes in.
Okay.
These are your ideal early adopters, the people who are so passionate about solving this problem that they're willing to buy an unfinished product
Wow.
just because they see its potential.
That's commitment.
It is.
So these early evangelists, they sound pretty key to this whole process.
They're like gold.
Why are they so important?
They're like your partners in product development.
Oh.
They provide invaluable feedback,
Okay.
and they help you refine your product before it even hits the mainstream market.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So once we've done our customer discovery, maybe even found a few of these awesome early evangelists,
Yeah.
what's next?
That's where customer validation comes in.
Okay.
It's all about testing your assumptions and proving that there's a real market for your product.
Okay.
And it's not just about people saying they like your idea.
Uh-huh.
It's about them putting their money where their mouth is.
So like pre-orders, early access, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Getting those early sales, proving that people are willing to pay for what you're offering.
Right.
And this is crucial because it validates your business model
Gotcha.
and gives you the confidence to move forward.
So important, and it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Where do we go from there?
So after you've validated your customer base and proven your concept, it's time for customer creation. Now, this is where things get really interesting because it's about scaling up your efforts and reaching a wider audience.
So we're moving beyond those early evangelists
That's right.
and venturing out into the wider world.
Yeah.
This sounds like the marketing stage.
You could say that,
Okay,
but it's much more nuanced.
got it.
It's about building a repeatable and scalable process for acquiring new customers.
Mm.
And a key part of that is understanding your market type.
Market type. Okay, break that down for me. What does that even mean?
Essentially, it's about understanding whether you're entering an existing market, creating a new one, or resegmenting an existing one.
Okay.
And each of those requires a completely different approach.
Oh, I see. So, for example, if you're creating like a brand new product category,
Right.
something that people have never seen before,
Right.
you're going to have a lot more work to do in terms of educating the market.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Think of Handspring. The
Okay.
company that made those early Palm Pilots,
Oh.
they were entering an existing market, so people already understood the value of like a personal digital assistant.
Okay.
So those handheld, digital organizers,
Right.
they didn't have to explain that whole concept, just
Yeah.
why their product was better.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine if they had launched the very first Palm Pilot without educating people on what a PDA even was.
It would have been a disaster.
Wait, what a design.
We'd have been trying to create a market from scratch, which
Yeah.
is a much more challenging task.
Yeah.
So understanding your market type is crucial
Okay.
for determining the right customer creation strategy.
It sounds like this customer development model is all about taking a step back,
Yes.
really understanding the landscape before you jump into action.
Yes.
You know.
So important.
And I'm starting to see how this could have saved a lot of startups, including myself, from some major headaches.
Absolutely.
And we haven't even touched on company building,
Wow.
where he provides insights on scaling your team, maintaining agility, and building a culture that supports long-term growth.
Right.
So much more to uncover.
I have a lot more.
But before we move on to the next stage,
Okay.
just a quick recap of what we've learned so far.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the pitfalls of the traditional product development model
Right.
and how Blank's customer development model flips the script by putting the customer first.
Exactly.
We've explored those first three steps:
Yeah.
customer discovery, customer validation, and customer creation,
Yes.
highlighting the importance of, understanding your target audience,
Right.
validating your assumptions,
Yeah.
and tailoring your approach based on your market type.
Uh-huh.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah.
So much more to explore in the 4 steps to the Epiphany. So stick with us
Yes.
as we continue this deep dive
That's right.
into building a customer-centric business.
Let's dive into the next stage. It's going to get even more interesting as we see how all of this plays out in the real world.
I'm excited. We've
Yeah.
covered a lot of ground already,
We have.
but I'm ready for more.
Okay.
This customer development model is really starting to resonate with me.
Good.
And remember, we're not just talking theory here. Blank brings these ideas to life
Yeah.
with real-world examples, and one that really stands out is the story of Photostoyu,
Oh, yeah.
that online photo printing startup.
Mm,
It seems like they had a great product,
they did.
especially with digital cameras, becoming all the rage back then.
Exactly. They were right there at the dawn of the digital camera age, ready to solve this problem.
So what went wrong?
Well, this is where understanding your market type
Right.
becomes absolutely crucial.
Okay.
They made a classic mistake.
Oh,
They went all in on branding and marketing
okay.
before the mass market was even ready.
So they were trying to create demand
Yes.
before there was even an audience to demand it.
Precisely, they assumed that just because digital cameras were taking off,
Right.
everyone would automatically be clamoring to print their photos online.
But those early adopters of digital cameras,
Yeah.
those tech-savvy folks, they weren't necessarily your average consumer back then, right?
Exactly. People were still figuring out how to use their new digital cameras,
Right.
downloading pictures and all that.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking about online printing services just yet.
So Photostoyu ended up spending a fortune trying to reach an audience that wasn't there yet.
I did.
Ouch.
It's a painful lesson.
It is. So how could they have avoided this? What should they have done differently?
They needed what Blank calls an early adopter launch,
Okay.
a much slower,
Got it.
steady approach, focused on educating those early enthusiasts,
Okay.
the people who are already excited about digital photography.
So instead of going for that big splashy onslaught launch,
Yeah.
that might work in an existing market.
All right.
They needed a more targeted approach.
Exactly. And this is where those worksheets and diagrams Blank provides in his book can be incredibly helpful.
Okay.
They guide you through the process of identifying your market type and choosing the right strategy.
So it's like he's giving you a roadmap to navigate
He is.
the complexities of launching a product.
Exactly. And it can save you a lot of time, money, and heartache down the road.
I bet.
Now, Photostoyu is a cautionary tale,
Yeah.
but it also serves as a valuable lesson for all of us.
What's that?
That you really need to do your homework and really understand the market before you go all in on any particular strategy.
That's a great point.
Now let's shift gears and talk about the final step in Blank's model company building.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
So we've figured out our customers. We've validated our assumptions.
Yeah.
We've got a solid customer creation strategy in place.
Right.
We're ready to scale, right?
You would think so, but it's not quite that simple.
Oh.
This is where Blank introduces a pretty radical concept.
Yeah.
He argues that the founders, those visionary entrepreneurs who get the company off the ground,
Yeah.
might not be the best people to lead once the company matures.
Hold on. Are you saying that the very people who had the vision?
It's not that they're bad leaders.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that different stages of a company's growth require different skill sets.
I see. So the kind of leadership that thrives in like that early, scrappy startup phase,
Yes.
where you're figuring things out on the fly,
Right.
might not be the best fit for a larger, more established company.
Exactly. A startup needs agility,
Right.
willingness to pivot,
Yeah.
and a constant focus on learning.
Got it.
A larger company needs structure,
Okay.
processes, and a focus on execution.
And that can be a really tough transition for founders
It can.
who used to, calling all the shots.
Right. It can be a hard pill to swallow.
It can, but it's also a sign of maturity,
It is.
both for the founder and the company. It's about recognizing that sometimes the best thing you can do for your creation
Yeah.
is to let go and let someone else take it to the next level.
Exactly.
Wow. That's a powerful insight. And it makes me think about those legacy companies
Yeah.
that struggle to adapt to changing market conditions.
Right.
Maybe they're clinging to that early startup mentality
Yeah.
when they need a different approach to thrive in a new environment.
You're right.
That's a good point.
And it speaks to the importance of self-awareness and humility.
Yeah.
Especially for leaders.
Absolutely.
Now, it's not just about the CEO either.
Okay.
Blank talks about building a mission-centric culture.
I've heard that term before.
Yeah.
What does it mean in this context?
It means that everyone in the company,
Right.
from the top down,
Yeah.
is aligned around this common goal.
Got it.
They understand the company's mission
Okay.
and how their role contributes to it.
So it's not just about having a mission statement hanging on the wall. It's about actually living and breathing it every day.
Exactly. And this is crucial as you scale.
Okay.
Because you can't have every decision
Yeah.
going through the founder or the CEO.
Right.
You need to empower employees to make decisions,
Mm.
take initiative,
Yeah.
and feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves.
I could see how that ties back to the idea of getting out of the building.
Yeah.
And constantly listening to customers.
Absolutely.
Those insights are coming from all levels of the company,
Yeah.
not just from the top.
Right. A frontline employee might have a brilliant idea that a CEO would never even think of.
Couldn't even see.
That's right. A mission-centric
Yeah.
culture encourages that kind of bottom-up innovation.
It's about creating an environment where everyone feels ownership
Yeah.
and isn't afraid to, speak up. They're encouraged to think like entrepreneurs,
Exactly.
even if they're not the founder.
That's right. And that's what ultimately allows a company to thrive. In the long term, it's that agility, that responsiveness, that ability to adapt to change.
Yeah, because the market's constantly evolving.
Constantly.
Right.
So it's not just about building a company.
Yeah,
It's about building a culture that can sustain that growth
right.
and adapt to whatever challenges come your way.
And that's where Blank's insights are so valuable.
DR.
He provides a roadmap,
Yeah.
a framework
Mhm.
for navigating those challenging
Right.
but exciting stages of company growth.
Exactly.
And he doesn't shy away from the tough question.
No, he doesn't.
Like, when is it time for a founder to step aside?
Right.
Or how to build a culture that encourages both innovation and execution.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
He even goes as far as to suggest that sometimes a founder
Yeah.
is better off leaving their creation in the hands of someone else who can take it to that next level.
It takes a lot of self-awareness and humility to recognize when it's time to step back.
It does.
But it's also about putting the company first.
Yeah. It is.
Recognizing that sometimes the best thing you can do for your creation is to let go.
It's about recognizing that building a successful company
Yeah.
is a journey, and sometimes that journey requires you to hand over the reins to someone else.
That's a powerful thought, and one that I think every entrepreneur should reflect on.
It is.
You know, it's amazing how Blank connects all these concepts,
Yeah.
from customer development to company culture.
Right.
Like, he's providing a blueprint for building a business that's not just successful,
Yeah.
but also, like, built to last.
That's right.
And honestly, that's what we all want, right?
Yeah.
Create something that stands the test of time.
Exactly.
So that's the key takeaway here.
Yeah.
The customer development model isn't just about tactics,
It's a mindset shift.
right?
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that the customer isn't just someone you sell to.
Right.
They're the driving force behind everything you do.
They are.
So we're moving away from that, like, old school,
Yeah.
build it and they will come
Right.
approach to something much more collaborative
Yes.
and customer-centric.
It's about involving your customers in the process
Yeah,
from the very beginning,
right.
from that initial spark of an idea
Mhm.
to the way you develop your product
Yeah.
and even the way you structure your company
So it's about building a business that truly puts the customer
at the heart of everything.
at the heart of everything. Yeah, not just in words, but in action.
In action. That's right.
And that's what leads to breakthroughs.
He does.
You know, it's what allows you to create products and services
Yeah.
that people genuinely want and need.
And that solve real problems.
Right.
Not just building something cool because you can.
Although building cool things is fun too.
It is.
But if it doesn't solve a real problem
Right.
for someone, then what's the point?
Exactly. That's the essence of the 4 steps to the Epiphany.
Yeah.
It's a call to action for entrepreneurs to think differently,
Mm.
to build differently, to
Yeah.
lead differently.
And for you, the listener, it's a reminder that even the most brilliant idea is worthless if it doesn't resonate
With the people you're trying to serve.
with the people you're trying to reach. Exactly.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yes.
I want to leave you with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Hit me.
Remember how we talked about founders needing to step aside?
Yeah.
That tough decision,
Yeah.
but sometimes necessary for the company's growth.
Right. It's about recognizing that different stages of a company
Yes.
require different leadership style
Yeah.
and skill set.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's the question.
Okay.
If you were building a successful startup, at what point would you hand over the reins?
Wow, that is a deep one. It forces you to look inward and really be honest with yourself
It does.
about your strengths and weaknesses.
It's about your limitations and putting the company's needs above your own ego.
Wow.
Not easy, but a question I think every entrepreneur should ask themselves.
For sure. It's about understanding that leadership is not about holding on to power,
Right.
but about empowering others to succeed. So don't let this knowledge just sit there.
That's right.
Dive into the 4 steps to the Epiphany.
Yes.
And start applying the customer development model to your own ventures.
Yeah.
Heck, even use it to better understand your current workplace.
That's right.
Because these principles aren't just for startups.
They're for anyone.
They're for anyone who wants to build something
That matters.
that makes a real difference in the world.
That's what it's all about.
And that's the kind of thinking that leads to truly remarkable things.
It does.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
Until then, keep learning, keep questioning,
Yeah?
and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.